Hello. I'm going to adjust my screen. Hopefully you can hear me. I decided I'm going to do something different because I have been having some weird things happen when I'm pre-recording videos on Zoom. So I am doing my first live. And I am here to chat about Kundalini Energy. So I'm sure if you Google or even put in the search on YouTube for Kundalini, you will come up with all kinds of different videos, different opinions, different perspectives. And even Kundalini Yoga in particular, there might be some things that are true and there may be some things that are not. And my reason for being here and talking about Kundalini energy is because I have this sense that there's a lot of fear around what a Kundalini awakening experience is. And there's also a lot of information about Kundalini Yoga being dangerous. And I'm not here to convince you by any means. I'm not here to tell you what to do. Disclaimer, I am a Kundalini Yoga teacher, and I'm also not on here attempting to recruit you or have you join anything that you don't feel is in alignment with you. But what I do feel is really important is that people have information and experiences from people who are actually having the experiences and doing the practices themselves. So if you don't know what Kundalini Yoga is, you might be like me circa 2016, September and before. I'm going to tell a story because I like to tell stories. So I used to work for the municipal government in human resources and health and safety. And I loved my job and it felt really rewarding. It's important for me to feel like I'm making significant contributions to humanity. And I also had this experience with a young child. A woman had brought her son to work. He had gotten in trouble at camp and sent home. And so him and I had a really special connection. And I had this desire at that time. I was already teaching yoga, but I was like, I want to learn how to teach yoga to children. So I went online and I started looking for teacher trainings. And this one popped up, Yoga for Youth. And the woman that popped up, I just felt her energy and was like, oh my gosh, I need to do this. And as I looked into it, I found out it was in Washington, D.C. It was 5 days. And that was all I really knew. So I paid for it. I got an Airbnb, booked my flights, and I showed up and I was like, why is everyone dressed in white? Why are people wearing turbans? And why are they chanting all of these mantras? It felt so surreal, the whole experience. And yet I felt so at home at the same time. And so the first day was really challenging. I found the practice can be a little bit challenging, especially if it's something that's new for you. And by the 5th day, I was like, this is for me. And I wanted to share it with as many people as possible. So it took me a while to be able to do my level 1 training. And then I've now completed my level 2 trainings. But I mean, I didn't really know much about it until I just showed up for teacher training. So I know that's not everyone's experience. And I know some people would look at people doing Kundalini Yoga and be like, what is that? because it's not like other styles of yoga. And yeah, it's quite different. So what I've learned about it is that it literally prepares the nervous system and the body to be able to activate Kundalini energy. And Kundalini, some people describe it as like the creative energy. Some people describe it as healing energy. And from my experience, it's definitely both and more. And there can be experiences of perhaps, if you have a part of your body that is like restricted or resisting, we call that maybe like a blockage. It's possible that that energy can't go all the way up the channel of the spinal column or the energy centers. And it could be uncomfortable, I suppose. But a lot of the stuff that we hear on YouTube and other ways of receiving information. I'm just saying YouTube because I'm on YouTube right now. But people share their experiences of Kundalini awakening. A lot of the times it can happen when your body isn't fully attuned to the frequency. And I'm not going to speculate because that was not my experience. So I'm not really going to talk about that. But what I do want to talk about is how it has helped me and changed my life. And I had a really recent experience where I was in a Kundalini Yoga therapy training, and we were doing a pose that I find challenging, and in a lot of circumstances I take a lot of breaks during because it's very challenging. And for some reason, we did it so much during the week of this training. And so I was like, well, maybe I just need to do it. Maybe I just do it and see what happens. Well, after 6 days of doing, we call it stretch pose, I am in awe, first of all, of how much healing happened, because I was having a lot of pain in my sacrum and my lower back area before the training. And somewhere midway through the training, that pain is totally subsided, like zero residue. And aside from that, I left the training 6 days feeling so activated and so invigorated. And I've had so much energy. I feel like I have been in such a great mood, even to the point where I showed up at one of my yoga classes this week. I teach at an addiction recovery center. And I was like so talkative and super like animated. And then I said to the guys, I'm like, I'm going to warn you, I think I'm a little extra today. And they were like, we feel it. So I also equate that to activating my navel, which in a lot of ways is the creative channel and allows us to use the Kundalini energy in a way that we take action and we are inspired and we're able to align with the action that needs to happen in order to allow our creativity to flow through and actually become something. And so I was talking in the training about how I've been creating things. I've been, writing poetry. I created a new deck. I'll show you. Sorry, I should have had that ready. I created this deck and a whole healing system called Refuel. And all of those things were just sort of sitting. And then after the training, I felt like I was ready to do something with it. And so I put my name out for a few things. And action just started happening. Like I felt like, okay, it's time to do stuff with the stuff that you created. And so what I think is important is that we can hear a lot of things and people can share their own experiences and have their own opinions about something. But until you've actually experienced it yourself, you may not be able to really have like let me just rephrase that. I wish that people would give things a chance and allow themselves to experience it instead of just listening to what other people say and judging it based on that. Because I know if I had seen Kundalini Yoga before, I might not have gone to the training for 5 days. And going to the training for 5 days was like one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my life way back in 2016. And it changed the trajectory of my life. And now I'm teaching Kundalini Yoga. It's almost been 5 years. And I can't imagine myself teaching other styles of yoga because it resonates so deeply. And chanting is so healing. The mantras that we use and like activating the glandular system and really reminding ourselves on a deep, deep level of our own capacity to heal and awakening that part of ourself that knows how to do that. And I know that, sometimes people say that, Kundalini is this or that. People attach it to like religion or belief systems. But the way that I was taught was that it's none of those things. It's a sacred technology, physical practice that attunes and prepares the body for the Kundalini energy to rise. And so I don't know if that was clear, but if you are here and you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Hopefully you were able to hear me while I was going on and telling stories. And if you are joining this live, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. And if you're catching it on the replay and you want to drop some questions in the comments below, or if you want to share your own experience, that is welcome here as well. And I'm just curious, have you experienced Kundalini Yoga? Do you know what it is? Are you aware of Kundalini energy in general? And anything else you want to share with regards to those topics are welcome. And before I go, I'm just going to pull a card and see what comes out. I was going to pop on and do some live readings with this deck, and I never did that yet. So I'm just putting away the card I pulled for myself earlier because I use this deck every day. So let's just see if anybody here, if this message is for you. Do you have a message for anyone watching this live right now? There is a message. Ooh, and it's different, so it's definitely for you. So the card that came out is card number 51, Gateway of Support. Oh, I love it. And the feeling is distrust. So I welcome you to check in with yourself. Maybe close your eyes if you're comfortable doing so. And feel into your body what shows up when you connect with the energy of distrust. And if you want to, you're welcome to allow that to creatively express through you, whether that's through journaling, writing, drawing, painting, moving, sculpting, whatever way you artistically express, to allow that message to come through in a way that is beneficial for you. And then the gateway of support, the mudra, is like this. So you take your hands onto your face, relax your shoulders down, holding your face with reverence and allowing a few long, slow, deep breaths here. Activating the gateway of support. And whenever that feels complete, you can release your hands, and you're welcome to do it as often as you need to. Well, it looks like there's no questions, so I am going to end this live stream. But thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being human. And I'll see you in the next one. Mwah. So much love.